fellow Movie Crusaders, and welcome to our latest episode. My name is Sean Wasserkrug, and today we're going to be reviewing the latest film to hit Netflix, Spiderhead. Now, for many people who follow the show or have been watching our episodes with me and Brian Michaels, most of you guys kind of know this has kind of been a little bit of a journey with us for this film. If you watched our most anticipated films of 2022, you'll see that Brian and I were relatively excited for this film back when it had a different title, when it was called Escape from Spiderhead, where we kind of had an idea or a mindset of what this film was going to be based off of the synopsis. Then about a month or two ago, Netflix released the first trailer for this film, changed the title to just Spiderhead, and we saw that the movie that we were not necessarily promised, because we weren't necessarily promised anything, but the synopsis of the film that we thought we were going to see had drastically changed based on this new trailer. And while we didn't all of a sudden just turn against the movie by any means, it was just that this is not the movie that we thought we were going to get based off of what we were told about the film in the first place. And our expectations for the film did drop considerably. We were still excited to check it out, because we got, Chris Hemsworth, Miles Teller. But it was just one of those things where we were excited for this one aspect of a film that we were told, and then the movie that we're going to get is a completely different film in general. And we thought the film was going to be, these convicts trying to escape from this very high caliber prison in an area that literally no one's going to be able to escape from. Kind of like an Escape from Alcatraz situation, but with these, actors. But instead, we get a movie that, and this is the synopsis for Spiderhead, in the near future, convicts are offered the chance to volunteer as medical subjects to shorten their sentence. One such subject, for a new drug capable of generating feelings of love, begins questioning the reality of his emotions. And so it kind of becomes more of a psychological thriller type film, a lot like Ex Machina in a way. Where you have Chris Hemsworth, who plays Steve Abnesti, who's kind of the guy who runs this whole thing, the one who's doing the tests, the one that's running this kind of cycle and through all these emotions with these little capsule things that can basically control your emotions or force what looks like, I guess, like a liquid in some form into your stream that can make you laugh no matter what news you get, can make you, fall in love and get super horny, to make you talk better and verbalize your emotions better, to something that literally seems like something out of a nightmare for you, that can pretty much cripple you in a way that can cause, terrifying rage, to just kind of hiding in the corner, terrified of something that is really something that's not terrifying. But basically, with this this kind of little pocket thing that attaches to their back, it can control all their emotions and kind of make them kind of little puppets to Steve's will in that way. In terms of cast, like I said, you got Hemsworth, who plays kind of the main antagonist of the film, Steve. You also got Jeff, who is played by Miles Teller, and he's that main subject that kind of is the mouse in the maze it's kind of being played with, as well as the other characters in the film. Journey Smollett plays Lizzie, his kind of love interest in the film, who's also going on the same journey. And then you also got who plays Mark? Mark, it plays Mark. Mark Pagino, who plays Mark in the film, who's kind of like Steve's number two in terms of testing everything in the film. And yeah, like I said, this movie, it's more of a psychological thriller, and them kind of doing all these tests on these inmates, and you also kind of learn a little more about Jeff and what got him there, and Lizzie, and all these other characters in a way. But mainly, it's kind of, a lot of this film is Mark, Steve, Lizzie, Jeff, and then a couple others, all in this room, and then testing them on these certain drugs that let them do certain things, and then kind of watching the psychological mindset that Steve tries to put them through, because he's trying to eventually put this out on the market, but he needs to finish all of his tests before he can finally do that. And the film itself, like I said, it's intriguing and it's interesting, and everyone that's in the film is doing their part. Hemsworth, I mean, everyone loves Hemsworth as Thor and being this lovable, Viking guy. But we've seen him do such roles where he's a villain character. For many people who have never seen him, Bad Times in the El Royale is probably one of my favorite ever performances of Chris Hemsworth, where he plays this kind of Charles Manson type of character. And in this film, Steve, he's basically playing this guy who feels like he's a god in a way, where he has the ability to control anyone's emotions and kind of force him to do whatever he wants on a whim. And he's really good at playing this narcissistic kind of character where he can mess with everyone's emotions in a way that, even though he's doing something that seems wrong to everybody else in the room, can spin it in a way to make them feel like it makes sense for why they're doing what they're doing, and ultimately bend to his will. And Hemsworth does a great job in this role. It's one of his better performances I've seen. Not that I'm knocking him as Thor, but Hemsworth really this is a masterclass for Hemsworth and Miles Teller in a way, and he knocks it out of the park in terms of his performance as Steve. Miles Teller as Jeff. We kind of see right from the get-go what got Jeff to that point, and it's not the full picture, and we eventually do get that full picture throughout the film, but you're seeing the emotions and him kind of being brought in and almost kind of being a partner of Steve throughout the film, and watching him kind of try to navigate and understand and also maybe push back a little bit on what Steve's trying to do. And Miles Teller, he's coming off high off of Top Gun Maverick, so he's very, very high on a lot of people's watch list, which is probably the perfect reason why they released Spiderhead now, with Thor, Love and Thunder coming out 2 weeks from now, and then of course, Top Gun Maverick being the #1 film of the year currently. So watching these two basically kind of have this mind game against one another works really, really well, and they both do a great job. Journey Smollett does a solid job in the film. You can tell there's this underlining thing that she's hiding from everybody throughout the film, and so because of that, she does the performance great, but it's kind of not half-hearted, but she's holding everything back until the very end when she's actually able to blow in a way and kind of really unleash everything from her. And when she does, Journey Smollett does a phenomenal job. And Mark, I actually really liked his performance as Mark. He kind of plays the guy who's being forced to do everything, who really has kind of more of the heart and sympathy for the inmates that are going through these tests. And I think every time he's on screen and his interactions with Hemsworth and Teller are actually very good and brings kind of something a little different to the film overall. The problem with Spiderhead is that while, yes, this is a really good sci-fi-esque mindfuck in a way, it feels incomplete. It feels like there's something missing with the film, and I was talking about this with Brian after we watched it, early this morning since it came out at 2 a.m., is I don't know if it needed a little bit more of what they were doing, or if it needed a couple more scenes with some character development, or it needed something else with maybe the other characters instead of just them staying kind of in these 3 locations and just kind of going through the story. It just felt incomplete. And Brian said it, and I 100% agree, is that I think Spiderhead as a movie doesn't necessarily work within the time constraints of what it was. But if Spiderhead had been a 6 to 10 episode limited series where they were able to give the time to develop all of these characters and to kind of take us through this journey all the way up to the inevitable end of where we get to the film, those 6 to 10 episodes, I think, would have made Spiderhead something amazing and something fantastic, because they would have that 6 to 10 hours to tell the story the right way instead of trying to tell a shortened version of the story in an hour and 50 minutes. And it's not that it doesn't succeed at that. It just, like I said, it just feels like there's something that we didn't get, or it just feels like they needed a little bit more. And in a 6 to 10 episode limited series, they definitely would have been able to pull that off, whereas in the movie, it just feels a little empty in a way. And I wanted more from the film overall. And that's kind of what it is. By the end of the film, you're like, all right, that was fine. That was, for what it was, like I said, it wasn't the movie that Brian and I thought we were going to get, but nonetheless, what we watched was a solid film, but it wasn't a full film in our eyes. And I think that's going to be probably the main thing that a lot of people are going to have issues with, is that it just felt like there was something missing. And in terms of a recommendation, if you like Hemsworth, if you like Miles Teller, if you like Journey Smollett, you guys are probably going to check this out because you're fans of those characters. And the movie itself, like I said, it's not bad. It's a very interesting thought process and mindset of the film, because even though Hemsworth is playing the antagonist of the film, what he's doing and where his brain and his mindset is going for why he does what he does isn't necessarily wrong. It's kind of like the Thanos theory, or the other, I'm blanking on his Michael B. Jordan's character in Black Panther. It's not necessarily wrong. It's just he's going about it kind of in the wrong way. And while what he's doing in the film, you're like, okay, that actually would be helpful for a lot of people, but the way he's doing things is the reason why he's going down a darker path instead of probably maybe going down a better path. Once again, a longer series or a longer film itself probably would have given us a little more nuances of why Hemsworth's doing what he's doing instead of going about it a different way. But this is the movie that we got. So in terms of recommendation, if you want to check out a psychological thriller, then by all means check out Spiderhead. Maybe you guys will like it more than Brian and I did. Not to say that we didn't like it, we just kind of expected more. If you guys aren't into those kinds of films, or you're not a fan of the three actors that I mentioned, which it's very hard for people not to be a fan of Chris Hemsworth, then yeah, it's probably not worth checking out on Netflix, but it's on Netflix. You know, you can sit at home and watch this and, you know, watch it at your leisure, so why not check it out? But for me, my overall score, I'm going to give Spiderhead a 68%. It had the ability to get higher. It just was, like I said, missing that one thing. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos pop up on the Movie Crusaders. And of course, I'm going to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Out right now, we got a review for Lightyear and our actor, actress, director showcase, where Brian and I talk about Chris Hemsworth himself again, Jennifer Lawrence, and Steven Spielberg. Last week, we released a spoiler, non-spoiler review for Jurassic World Dominion, as well as a franchise flashback for the Jurassic franchise. Next week, we have reviews for Elvis and Black Phone, as well as a Movie Crusaders chat about, where we talk about the potential fall of Pixar. And then we will also be coming out with our Movie Crusaders chat about the first half of 2022. What were our favorite films, our least favorite films, our surprises, our disappointments. So we got plenty of videos coming up on the channel here, so feel free to check all those out. And until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.